This story by Goreography. Am I the a-hole for getting upset by someone not being used to colored people? Ooh, wowee.
Hey, you.
Welcome back. My name's Jack.
The snack that smiles back.
You must be here to find out who the a-holes are today. Well, I'll provide the stories, you provide everything else, and let's get started. Using a shared throwaway. Background. A friend and I frequently talk online. I'll call her Soph. Is from Russia and has lived there all her life. I am from America. I'm African American and have Hispanic roots on my dad's side. I won't go into great detail, but due to my childhood and personal reasons, I've been self-conscious about my race and appearance my entire life. We were talking about xenophobia and racism in our respective countries, and Soph told me, "Not gonna lie, if I went to a gynecologist and saw they were black or Asian, I would feel hella cringy." She then went on to say she wasn't used to seeing colored people in her city, and if she saw one walking by, she'd be curious as to why they were there. She ended by saying, "But it's not like I hate them." Her entire stance made me freeze up. I understand that if someone is born and raised in a country where the majority population is white, it makes sense for them to be unfamiliar with other races and cultures. It's the same as if someone was raised in a majority black population. They would be unfamiliar with other races and cultures too. But I think the part that bothered me the most was that, yes, other races and cultures exist, but that doesn't suddenly make them a new creature or anomaly. They aren't any less human because of their skin color. I got very quiet in our chat, and I told her that she basically admitted that if we were standing side by side at that moment, I would make her uncomfortable. She responded that she would be totally fine with me. It was just strangers she would feel uncomfortable with, and I told her I was no less colored than a stranger. She apologized several times, but now I know how she feels about people like me. This wound won't close anytime soon. It's something that will be in the back of my mind as, oh right, if I were to meet this girl, she'd see my skin first and my personality second. I told her I was glad she admitted this to me and said I would need time to process it, but now I think I might be taking it a little too personal. She can't help how she was raised, where she grew up, or what she's used to. Maybe I shouldn't have expressed my displeasure with her comments. Maybe I should have just changed the subject and kept my disappointment to myself instead of making things awkward. Not the a-hole. For one, you're friends with a Russian, who historically don't give a frick, and two, as ugly as it seems, this reaction is the first step towards helping her understand racism. No a-holes here. Your friend is from a country that truthfully has very few, if any, people of color other than their own. It is not that she is saying she hates people of color, or that she is afraid, just that she is not familiar with them and doesn't know how to behave. That being said, you are being super sensitive, especially when she assured you that this feeling applied to strangers, not friends. And you two are friends. You can't jump onto the offended by your racism bandwagon here. You have to understand that she is from a place where people of color populace is very low, and that is hardly even known to exist. It would be like a person of color seeing someone with blue skin and yellow polka dots. It's strange and freaky. It is entirely possible thanks to tattooing and is not genetic, but it still could be called inappropriate to feel some kind of way about it, wouldn't it? Neither of you are a-holes, but you both need to have a serious talk with each other and yourselves about how this affects your friendship, and can you both be adults and move on? Some don't think she's completely innocent, though. I'm a little shocked by some of these comments here. While Soph is probably not racist, she is extremely ignorant, and I find it hard to understand why people are defending her comments as, oh, she just doesn't know any better. It might be true that she lives among a population where blacks and Asians don't make up a large percentage, but she lives in the world, not on the moon. Unless she's from an extremely sheltered cult or some type of isolated village, she should be very much aware of the existence of people who belong to other races. She knows they're human beings who live, breathe, work, eat just like her, so making the statement that seeing another person's skin as curious makes no freaking sense. You can be curious about a person's religion, ideology, or culture, but their skin color? Humanity should be long past that point. Come on. No a-holes here. Friend of mine, white, visited China decades ago. Ladies would stare at her peeing because they were not used to seeing white people. This sucks and is a human thing. Diversity has benefits. Potentially unpopular opinion, but screw it. I think you found an opportunity for further discussion. You have two very different life experiences, both of which are valid. You have an opportunity to have a much deeper and more intimate conversation about both of your experiences. Honestly, talk about it. Why it made you uncomfortable, etc. Approach the conversation with the goal of understanding her perspective. Ironically, listening is one of the best ways to convince or change someone's mind. This goes for you too. Currently, it is very difficult to have a proper conversation about this topic because people often jump to conclusions and get very defensive or even hostile. I think you were perhaps being a little bit sensitive, but in my honest opinion, the best route forward would likely to be talk about all of it with the goal of listening. If you do that, you may find that you finish the conversation with an even stronger friendship. There is an excellent TED Talk from an African-American, Daryl Davis, who attended KKK rallies with a similar mindset. If I recall correctly, the leader eventually ended up leaving the group. Here's the source. Agreed, highly recommend watching this. To be honest, I don't think either of you are the a-holes. So in summary, I'd have to agree, he was a bit sensitive to her comments. And after all, it's so clear that she's just coming from a state of ignorance. She hasn't made up her mind that all other races are inferior to her. She's just confessing that she's not familiar with them. I mean, if you've noticed someone wearing a crazy hairdo or the weirdest of outfit that you've never seen before, then you're literally just as bad as her. The only difference is hers is slightly more related to actual racial issues. But come on, it's no stronger of a connection than accusing a guy of being a pedophile because he checked out a 19-year-old and, oh hey, she's young and he found her attractive, so he's clearly attracted to young people. That's what pedophiles are like. You're not the a-hole, but she isn't either. I agree with what some people are saying. You should definitely use this as an opportunity to educate her. Heaven knows she'd need it if she ever visits another country. Oh, hello. Hi. Just noticed you're quite a bit into the video. About more than 30 seconds. If you could like it, that'd be beautiful. Just like you. This story by Bluebird. A-tar for snitching on my brother cause his friend was being creepy to me in my house. A bit of backstory. My brother, 17, brings his friends over almost every day. They all wake up early, so from like the time of 8 to like 7 when my dad gets home, they are almost always over. I, 15, wouldn't mind it as much, but they just can't be in his room at all, and I am basically trapped upstairs most days unless I go out with my friends. I have told my brother I hate how he always has his friends over, but he always tells me to just suck it up, and I've never gone to my parents because I guess I never saw it as something they have to get into. My room is really hot, and especially now since it's like 110 to 115 where I am, it is unbearably hot. I have been wearing sports bras, shorts, tank tops, baggy sweats, and anything else that is comfy and not gonna make my whole bed just water in the morning. I woke up around 10 and I checked out the window and both my parents were gone and the house was pretty silent. I thought I was home alone and went to get some water and eat breakfast. I was in my sweats and sports bra because I thought my brother was gone. My parents were at work and my sister is in college right now. The way our house is set up is that there is this huge hole so you can see the living room from the kitchen but can't see the living room from the stairway. The second I step in the kitchen, I yet again see like 3 of his friends and him watching TV. Side note, they were actually being pretty nice for once by keeping the TV volume down. Once I saw them, I nearly jumped, but one of his friends saw me and gave me a kissy face and looked like he was eyeing me up. I got really embarrassed and went to my room and refused to go back down till they were gone. They left around 4-ish and I was finally able to go downstairs. I wanted to talk to my brother about his creepy friend. I guess I was still pretty ticked at his friend and I guess I came off a bit hostile. He basically said that I shouldn't go downstairs dressed like how I was, and how he doesn't believe me about his friend. This sent me up a wall and just knew he was going to be a D about it and not want to confront his creepy friend, and just went to my room after he said that. When my dad got home, I told him about his creepy friend who was eyeing me up and how my brother blowed me off when I tried to tell him about it. My dad was pretty mad when he heard about that. He basically chewed my brother out. He banned that particular friend from ever coming over and forced him to apologize for not believing in me. My brother, though, is really mad at me now, and unless it's absolutely necessary, won't say a word to me and just gives me dirty looks. My older sister, 19, is saying that I shouldn't have gone to Dad and just talked to him when emotions went high the next day. Am I the a-hole? I'm so sorry you had to deal with this. You have a right to dress how you like in your own home without guests acting predatory towards you, especially when you're technically a kid. Your brother is an a-hole for victim blaming you for his friend's behavior. You are absolutely right to tell your father what happened, and your brother needs to grow up. Nata, it's your house too. First off, it's rude to take over the house every day, and that shouldn't stop you from being comfortable in it. If he doesn't believe his friend is a perv, then why should you dress any differently? You're just walking around in clothes how many people wear to gyms. It can't be both ways. My friend is not a creep, but make sure you dress a certain way so he doesn't be a creep around you. You are not in the wrong for going to your father. If you don't feel comfortable at home, then you have every right to express that to your parents, especially when your brother won't do anything other than be pee at you. Hopefully your brother will learn how this affects you and how terrible this is. That's the thing too, it's not exactly her fault that he's been banned, it's the father's decision that's caused that. I don't think you're the a-hole for telling your father about this issue, but I think the father should have ordered the friend to approach you and apologize. Otherwise he'd be banned. Because it is possible that, as a young teen, the guy wasn't intentionally being perverted on you, but to do something rather tongue-in-cheek. The eyeing you up and down? Again, if he was doing it really slowly and clearly with a lot of intensity, yeah, that's a bit much, dude. But also assuming he's never actually seen or met you before, he is going to habitually do that where he looks at all of you. But again, this is where I also have to add that, while us men are biologically driven to notice the attraction of a woman, that doesn't excuse us from not trying to control that urge if it ever comes up. Like, fact is, ladies, if you wear a really nice, slightly revealing outfit, a guy's gonna notice those bits of yours. At some point in the evening, he's gonna notice. But again, there's a difference between a quick glance and literally spending seconds looking at them. I think you are valid to feel creeped out by your brother's friend, but we also need to consider what he was exactly trying to communicate when he did that. For all you know, he was a closeted homosexual and was giving some tongue-in-cheek to, like any other girl he meets. He could also be influenced in a toxic sense by those guys around him, and genuinely thinks that his actions were just a normal way to communicate to a girl by saying hello. Again, not defending him, but rather explaining that the better course of action might have been to give him an opportunity to reflect and acknowledge this, miscommunication. After all, you can't improve on something if you don't get shown what you did wrong. However, that responsibility of pointing that sort of thing out to him is on your brother, and, well, on your father as well in a way. You don't need to, especially if you felt uncomfortable. I think you took all the right steps necessary. It was merely up to your brother and your father to have chosen the better route. That does us for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're looking at my face right now, that means you liked this video. So all I appreciate is if you would like the video back. Because if you like it, then I'll like you for liking the video, and then I can make more stuff for you to like that you can like, and it'll be just a constant cycle of never-ending pain and suffering. So don't do it alone, suffer with me. I don't know where I was going with that. If you haven't subscribed but you want to see some more content, then please, what are you waiting for? Click that notification bell so you're always updated on the latest content. And hey, why not check out some other videos while you're here? But anyway, that does me for today. Thank you again for watching. You're an amazing person. I love rambling at you, and I look forward to you staring at me beyond the abyss again soon. I can't close well. Don't at me, okay? My name's been Jack. Bye-bye. You're amazing. See ya!